Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Men Talk Monday. It's Mike here. And that beautiful beast behind me is my van, whose name is Van Gogh. Uh, and I've been traveling in Van Gogh for the past year around this beautiful country of the United States, exploring beautiful landscapes. It's been quite the adventure. Today, I want to lay on you some truth about life purpose, about identity, and about God, and about the connection between those three things. What I'm going to share with you is not only based upon my personal experience as a man, but also based upon over 20 years of me working as a professional coach with men in leadership in all walks of life all over the world. Hasn't just been here in the United States, but in other cultures as well. So, over that time, the things I'm about to share with you are things that I have become convinced of, not just because I've read it in a book somewhere or that I, believe in a certain philosophy, but because I have seen it work in literally hundreds of lives. So I guess I say that to say pay attention. I've actually made some notes because I don't want to miss any of these points. They're really important. I want to make sure I share them. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I want to start with a quote from G.K. Chesterton, which I think sums up the masculine experience. He says, "We are all under the same mental calamity. We have all forgotten our names. We have all forgotten what we really are." And isn't this true? I I have yet to meet a leader that I've come to work with as a coach who has a complete understanding of who they are. Most of them have had very little understanding of who they are or who they were or who they are becoming. And as a result, they have been flailing about looking for external signs, external things to tell them the truth about who they are, and finding all of those sources to be lacking. I believe, I've come to believe through those 20 years of working with men, that the only source you can go to find the answer to the question of who you are is God. And I believe that God has designed you as a masterpiece, as a work of art, literally a work of art, uh, equal to any Van Gogh, any Picasso, any Monet painting you'll see, any Michelangelo sculpture. You are beyond all of those, with intricacies and beauties beyond compare in the universe. Just wonders upon wonders. And that He has specifically designed you with capacities and abilities that perfectly match the purpose for which He created you. But because most men don't know who they don't know what they're for. And because they don't know what they're for, they are very often in situations that are not ideal to their purpose, not ideal to their identity. They're like, like an eagle is perfectly designed to ride thermals. But if you throw an eagle into the swamps of Louisiana, that eagle is not going to thrive because it's not in the right context for its identity. Um, but as a master craftsman, God has actually designed you to thrive if you know the purpose for which He has made you and the identity that He's given you as a man. So here's the thing that is life changing, can be life changing if you can take it to heart. Most of the time, in most contexts, we men are taught that identity flows out of mission, that we find out who we are by what we do. What I have come to believe is the opposite, that mission flows out of identity, that you find out what you're to do by finding out who you are. And which means you're not defined by your job, you're not defined by your role, You're not defined by the labels that the world lays on your shoulders. You're more than a career. You're more than a job title. As I said, there's a whole wild, wide, wonderful world inside you that no earthly role could possibly satisfy. You just can't. There's too much of you for a job to actually define. And counterfeit missions are around us everywhere as men. Um, they come at us from the culture, they come at us from our families, they come at us from other men, they come at us from the manosphere, they come at us even from our own shadow selves or the darker impulses of our nature, especially those missions that are fueled by envy or fueled by greed or the desire for validation or for power. All of those kinds of missions are false. They are empty and they will lead to death. They don't lead to life. The only, all caps, only trustworthy place to find your mission is by knowing your true self. And that depends on knowing God. Um, and you may use a different word for God. What I'm talking about is the entity who lives beyond this realm of time and space, who in some form or fashion is the maker of all things. That that one whom I'm come to know as Jesus, as the representation of God on earth. Only by knowing him can I come to know myself. Um, Intimacy with God in that way cannot be counterfeited by the ego. No amount of religious performance, no amount of studying of religious documents or holy scriptures will cause you to know God. Uh, the the idea that performance or knowledge can lead to intimacy with God is a counterfeit religion. It's a counterfeit spirituality. The true spirituality of transformation requires a man to stop performing and to be willing to expose his weakness and vulnerability to himself and to God, preferably in a circle with other trusted men. It's only through weakness that we come into authentic relationship with God, not through our strength, but through our weakness. Identity flows out of intimacy with God. As you come to know God, you come to see yourself. You come to see yourself as you really are. So identity flows out of intimacy with God. Knowing God is the key to knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is the key to knowing your mission. Every great man is unique in the world. Your wholeness as a man does not need to look like any other man's. It just needs to look like your true self in God, your true self in Christ, as I would say. That means that you can follow your own path. It means you can hike your own trail. It means you can fight your own fight. It means you don't have to compare yourself with any other man. You can track your own calling. Your life doesn't, as a man, doesn't need to look like any other man's. That's cultural. It's societal. It doesn't have anything to do with this vertical relationship between you and your creator. Uh, to follow God's highest path for your life means to follow God, right? But authentic intimacy with God is key to that process. You will never be capable of becoming the man that you're meant to be without real time, daily communication with God. You're not designed to find your way alone. You're designed to live your life as God's intimate ally and to have God as your intimate ally. That's the way it works. Real time intimacy with Him is the only way your life is going to actually succeed in any way that matters. So that's why all the great spiritual religions, including my own faith, Christianity, speak to this notion of union with God as being the ultimate goal for life. It's not about some esoteric, ethereal, living on a cloud kind of thing. It's about being connected to your creator so that you will understand who you are, so that you will understand what you're for, and so that you will fulfill your purpose in the world, which is both imminently fulfilling for you, but also creates good, redemptive, thriving life in the world because of you. I think every man I've ever met actually wants to have a positive impact in the world around them. We want to make a difference. We want to move the world. It's how part of how we're wired. The best way you can do that is to build intimacy with God. The absolute best way to go to God and invite him to be in relationship with you, to step into relationship with him. Okay. So here's my call to action around that. And I don't care, it doesn't matter to me if you are a Christian or not a Christian, or if you are Hindu, whatever your belief is. This is my call to action for the next 30 days. And so it's not a small ask. But it is just 15 minutes a day. So this is 15 minutes every morning. Here's what I want you to do. And I'll put this in the notes below. Take 15 minutes. First thing I want you to do three things. First thing I want you to do is just to breathe, just to get quiet, and just to still your thoughts. You can't be present to God if you're present to 1,000 other things. So just get still and be quiet. Number two, to the best of your ability, doesn't matter where you're at in your story, but just to the best of your ability, surrender yourself to God. It could be as simple as this: God, I give you my life today. I lay down my agenda for what today is supposed to be. Teach me. That's key. Just invite God to teach you. Teach me. Teach me about you, God. Teach me about me. Teach me how to follow you moment to moment. That's it. Teach me about you. Teach me about me. Teach me how to follow you moment to moment. That is it. That's what intimacy with him actually means. You don't have to beg him. You don't have to yell. You don't have to cry. But you do have to mean it. So that's the second thing. And then for the third thing, for the rest of those 15 minutes, just be quiet and listen. The truth is that God is revealing himself to you all the time, all the time. And so part of what our job is to practice paying attention, to learn the skill of paying attention, to apprentice ourselves to being attentive to the presence of God. So just for the rest of the 15 minutes, just be still, be quiet, and listen. And notice how, when, if, where God may be speaking to you or revealing himself to you. It may not be through words. So do it for the rest of those 15 minutes. And then throughout the rest of the day, whenever you have a few minutes, do it again. Just pause. Even 1 minute of authentic connection with God can change the course of a whole day. In fact, I would say, and this is what I tell my clients too, that the more minutes of the day that you spend connected to God, the more you become the man you're meant to be. It's that simple. So if that's your only goal in life, is to be more connected to God, you will become the man you're meant to be, as long as you are open and receptive and willing to surrender and follow his lead. Richard Rohr, the father Richard Rohr, said, "Who we are in God is who we are." And that's the truth of it. You will find the deep truth of yourself only in intimacy with God. Jesus himself said it, actually, when he said, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life." So when you come to Jesus, when you come to God, he is the way for you. He is the truth for you, and he is the life for you. Knowing him is the path to knowing yourself, because he made you. He knows, he designed you, and he knows what you are for. So mission flows from identity. Identity flows from intimacy with God. There is no other way for you to become who you're meant to be and to fulfill the purpose that you were uniquely called to fulfill in this world. That is what 20 years, more than 20 years of working with men in leadership has shown me over and over again. And it's what's been true in my own life as well, and in the life of the brothers that I do life with. It's just the way it works. So if you want more, I encourage you to join the BraveHeart Men. You can do that at thebraveheartmen.com. It's totally free to join. Join us for a Braveheart Intensive, which you can find out more about on the site. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me as a coach, drop me a line. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if we might want to explore together what partnering together to find out your mission, your purpose, your identity might be like. That's it for today. I hope you guys have a beautiful week, and I will look forward to seeing you again in a future video.